pretty much, what is new about this? What's the value proposition that is unique? Obviously, we've seen quite a few indices launched in Nigeria.
Correct.
NSE index is more or less the benchmark index for the market.
Correct.
Why are you launching this one?
Well, as you know, the NSE index is an all-share index, and it's been around ever since the market started. We have, over the last 2 years, been in partnership with Businessday when we started the Afrinvest markets pages on the Businessday newspapers. And then looking back at our research database and as well as the trading patterns of our top institutional clients, both domestic clients and international, we've recognized that about 30 stocks are really what investors are looking at out of the over 200 stocks that are listed on the exchange. And then in further analysis and research, we then realized that these stocks account for over 75% of market capitalization and over 90% of trading liquidity. So effectively, these are the stocks that drive the market. If you take them out of the composition of the NSE All-Share Index, that index would actually fall a lot further than it is today.
So that's what investors should be focusing on.
Absolutely.
But on top of that, you have what's called a modified market capitalization methodology.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
The reason we did our modified market capitalization methodology is that we're looking at two parameters. We're looking at market capitalization as a component of being on the index, as well as trading liquidity. Hence, a stock like Dangote Cement, which obviously is about 25% of the market, doesn't come in and be 25 or 40% of the index. Actually, it accounts for no more than 7% of the index. Hence, we've weighted the market capitalization and then juxtaposed that against the liquidity of that stock. So if a stock is a highly capitalized stock but doesn't trade, it may not actually feature in the index. You know, there are some of the, you could look at some of the pharmaceutical companies where there's a market capitalization in terms of large number of shares outstanding and an interesting share price, but they hardly ever trade, and investors don't come into those stocks at all.
Okay, let's talk about liquidity, because obviously when we talk about, that's one key focus of this index. And over the last few years, obviously liquidity has been on the front burner in the Nigerian market.
Correct.
We've seen things trend lower over the last few years, possibly picking up over the last year or so. But there's been talk about market makers and talk about short selling and so forth to really drive liquidity in the Nigerian market. So it's more so because now we have a lot more foreign investors interested in Nigeria, being more of a focus for frontier market investors.
Right.
Tell us more about what we can really do to improve liquidity, given all these suggestions.
Well, I think the BA30 index is one of the ways it can improve liquidity. If you begin to focus on some of the top stocks that drive the market, that could perhaps attract more investors, more of the institutional investors to look at those stocks and understand there are still value in the Nigerian market. I believe today that at the levels of the market, there's a lot of value for investors. When you come to the broader market issues as to the ability to do other derivatives around what the market is, that is an area which we're a strong proponent for. The market today is far too simplistic. Everybody makes money in one direction. I need to be able to short a stock so that I can have a different view from you as to what you think value should come, which way that value should happen. And once that happens, if there's a way for us to short the stock or for me to borrow stock and lend it to somebody else to do other things with, then you find that the market actually begins to get deeper. You find that the same stock can be traded 5 more times within the same day, and that is what drives the liquidity. With more liquidity, then you begin to attract larger pools of money which want to play in that market. So to some extent, you find that certain people in this market are very scared about change. Just the little noises the stock exchange has made about trying to lift the trading limits from 5% up or down to maybe a wider band of 10 plus or minus. You've had quite a lot of resistance in that area. But I think we shouldn't be afraid of those kind of changes. These are the things that will actually begin to make the Nigerian market more in line with what the international market is. And there's no way out of it. We'll have to continuously move to the global standard. And once we get there, you then find that the market will be much deeper.
And in 15 seconds, let's look at the primary issue market. Do we have a shortage of infrastructure to really get a situation where when we invest in these companies, we can get our share certificates or share credit immediately?
Absolutely not. Based on the infrastructure of the market today, it is quite possible to do an offer structured in such a way that all investors get a T+3 settlement. Afrinvest has actually done something like that. When you look at the Dangote Cement offer we did last year, you find that we structured it in such a manner that it appeared like a secondary sale transaction. But even for primary issues, the regulatory environment as well as the structural platform of the NSE and the CSCS can allow you today to do an offer that settles T+3 if you want to.